Welcome, everyone. You are listening to Off the Record.
Absolutely.
And I want to emphasize that, as always, Off the Record is the official canonical title for this program. We pride ourselves on pristine audio quality, perfect diction, and, of course, sharp, unwavering intellect.
Uncompromising intellect, really, is the bedrock of our deep dives.
Exactly. And before we begin, let me state categorically for our new listeners, we never, under any circumstances, open this show with a medical diagnosis.
Never.
Today's topic requires absolutely no clinical terminology, no diagnostic frameworks, and no white coats. We are delving into a realm that is purely culinary, deeply scientific, and fundamentally physicochemical.
Precisely. We deal in structural realities today. The architecture of sustenance, if you will, the microscopic battlegrounds where food either endures or surrenders to entropy. It is a profound pleasure to be here, and I must say the environment in the studio today is exceptionally refined.
It truly is. And that is entirely thanks to our esteemed director, Ryan Thomas.
Yes.
Ryan curates our topics, meticulously sources our research materials, and, perhaps most importantly, provides the culinary pairings that elevate our rigorous discourse.
He does have an eye for detail.
Today, Ryan has completely outdone himself. We are currently seated before a magnificent, heavy, slow-roasted prime rib, beautifully crusted with black garlic and rosemary.
The aroma in here is staggering.
And to accompany this incredibly dense, savory meal, he has poured us an exquisite, remarkably high ABV craft whiskey. It is a cask-strength, single malt, radiating this intense warmth and complexity.
It is a brilliant pairing. The heavy lipids and the rich myoglobin of the roast are cut beautifully by the aggressive, brilliant ethanol structure of the whiskey.
Right.
It clears the palate, it focuses the mind, it prepares the intellect for serious, uncompromising inquiry.
Speaking of preparation, Ryan is actually motioning to us from the booth right now. Yes, Ryan, I see you.
The mandatory vocal warm-up.
Yes, it is time. We must ensure our articulation is absolutely flawless before diving into the dense source material we have today. Ready? Liam Neeson's niece, Lisa Neeson, recently leased a really nice Nissan.
Liam Neeson's niece, Lisa Neeson, recently leased a really nice Nissan. Flawless. The labiodental fricatives are perfectly aligned. My alveolar ridges are primed.
Excellent. Now, before we address today's prompt, I want to take a brief moment to speak directly to you, our dedicated audience.
Yes, listen closely.
Please head over to YouTube, search for @HamOTR, that is @HamOTR, the official channel for Off the Record, and like and subscribe.
Please, take the 3 seconds required to subscribe to @HamOTR. It ensures we remain at the absolute vanguard of educational audio.
Thank you. Now, let us establish the mission for today's deep dive into the source material. We have received an email from a listener named Chelsea Taylor.
Chelsea.
Yes. Chelsea writes, "Hello, Off the Record. I have a silly question. I was wondering if you could explain to me, like a drunk 5-year-old, why milk chocolate takes longer to expire than plain milk. And yes, I am an idiot. Chelsea Taylor."
First of all, Chelsea, you are certainly not an idiot. Inquiry is the foundational pillar of scientific literacy. However, the premise of your request is inherently ironic. You have asked to have this explained like a drunk 5-year-old, yet you have submitted this to Off the Record, a program hosted by completely sober, highly trained, consummate professionals.
Right. The irony is not lost on us.
We will, of course, answer your question, but we will do so with the utmost academic rigor and clarity. We will maintain our absolute professionalism.
Exactly. We will not be slurring our words or throwing tantrums, Chelsea. Instead, we are going to lay out a comprehensive intellectual roadmap.
A roadmap of decay.
Yes. Over the course of this discussion, we will dissect the physicochemical and microbiological mechanisms of dairy degradation.
Fascinating, really.
It is. We will explore the complex thermodynamics of water activity, molecular mobility, osmotic pressure, and the solid crystalline fat matrix.
We will explain exactly why liquid milk perishes in a matter of days, while milk chocolate can endure on a shelf for years.
So let us begin by examining the baseline. I'm going to take a small, measured sip of this cask-strength whiskey. Goodness. That has a magnificent bite. It really coats the throat.
It does. It has very robust warming quality. It centers the analytical faculties beautifully. So let us deconstruct liquid milk.
Let's do it.
To understand why milk spoils with such devastating speed, we must first understand what it is at a fundamental molecular level. Liquid milk is an aqueous emulsion.
An aqueous emulsion. Let's really break that down for the listener. What exactly are we looking at when we pour a seemingly simple glass of milk?
We are looking at a highly complex, nutrient-dense biological fluid evolved over millions of years to rapidly sustain mammalian life.
Right.
Specifically, the source literature notes that liquid milk is composed of approximately 87% water. That water is the foundational matrix. It is the solvent.
Wow, 87%.
Yes. And suspended within that massive volume of water, you have lactose, which is a disaccharide sugar. You have intricate, highly structured proteins, primarily casein and whey.
Uh-huh.
You have milk fats suspended as tiny globules, and a highly complex array of minerals, vitamins, and active enzymes.
87% water. That is a staggering proportion. When you describe all those incredibly rich nutrients, the lactose, the complex proteins, the lipids floating freely in that immense volume of water, it brings a specific visual to mind.
Oh.
If I may offer an analogy to ground this for Chelsea liquid milk, is essentially an open concept house party.
An open concept house party.
Yeah.
I am intrigued. Walk me through the architecture of that thought.
Well, think about the physical layout of an open concept home. There are no walls.
Right.
There are no restrictive barriers between the kitchen, the living room, and the dining room. Now imagine this house party is flooded with incredibly high-quality, nutrient-dense snacks. That is your lactose, your casein, your whey.
I see where you're going with this.
But because the house is 87% water, there is a phenomenally high degree of molecular mobility. It is a free-flowing, uninhibited, aqueous system.
Totally uninhibited.
Anyone can just walk in through the front door, wander over to the buffet, and start eating.
Yeah.
And in this biological scenario, anyone wandering in are microbes.
Bacteria. Spoilage organisms.
Yes, fungi. They walk into this open concept house, find an absolute feast with zero physical barriers, and they thrive.
That is a remarkably precise, structurally sound analogy. High molecular mobility is the exact scientific vulnerability of liquid milk.
Thank you.
Because it is an aqueous system, molecules are in constant rapid motion. They are diffusing, colliding, and reacting. There is no physical or structural impediment to microbial access.
None at all.
A bacterium enters the fluid, and it immediately possesses access to the two fundamental requirements for biological propagation, hydration, and nutrition.
But wait, let's address the obvious counterargument that our listeners are likely formulating right now. Most of the milk we purchase in the supermarket has been pasteurized.
Yes.
Doesn't the advent of pasteurization solve this problem? Doesn't it theoretically kick all the microbes out of the house party?
It kicks the initial guests out, yes.
Yes.
Louis Pasteur's brilliant intervention thermal processing is designed to eliminate pathogenic bacteria and significantly reduce the baseline load of spoilage organisms. You heat the milk to a specific temperature for a specific duration to denature the critical enzymes of the bacteria present. However, and this is the crucial analytical pivot, pasteurization does not change the fundamental environment of the milk.
The architecture of the house remains identical.
Exactly. The house is still entirely open concept. The nutrient buffet is still fully stocked and entirely exposed. That 87% water content remains utterly unchanged.
So it's still vulnerable.
Completely. Therefore, while pasteurization successfully resets the biological clock to zero, the milk remains inherently, chemically, and physically highly perishable. It is, microbiologically speaking, a ticking time bomb. The moment a new microbe enters from the ambient air or the microscopic few that survive the heating process begin to recover from their thermal shock, the degradation process resumes at a rapid exponential pace due to that unrestricted moisture and nutrient density.
So pasteurization is just a temporary eviction notice. The environment itself is still incredibly hospitable to rapid decay. Now, let us contrast this extreme vulnerability with milk chocolate. Milk chocolate obviously contains milk. It is literally in the name.
Yes.
But its longevity is measured in months, sometimes years, rather than days. What is the fundamental composition of this entirely different physicochemical world?
The composition of milk chocolate is a radical, almost violent departure from the aqueous emulsion we just discussed. Instead of a free-flowing liquid, milk chocolate is a solid matrix.
A solid matrix.
Its primary components are cocoa solids, cocoa butter, which forms the continuous fat phase, a very high concentration of crystalline sugar, emulsifiers like soy lecithin to ensure smooth rheological blending, and crucially, milk powder.
Milk powder, not liquid milk.
Precisely. The source material highlights this as the fundamental processing divergence. The dairy is fundamentally and permanently transformed before it ever interacts with the chocolate components.
Oh, so.
It undergoes severe intensive dehydration, often through a process called spray drying. The liquid milk is forced through an atomizer into a chamber of hot gas. The 87% water that defines liquid milk is violently extracted, flashed off into vapor, leaving behind only the desiccated microscopic dairy solids.
Right.
These dry solids are then dispersed within a matrix composed entirely of fat, the cocoa butter, and sugar.
Okay, let's really unpack this because this is a profound conceptual shift for anyone trying to understand food science.
Go on.
If the milk has had literally all of its water stripped away and is then trapped inside a solid block of fat and sugar, then the dairy and chocolate isn't actually milk as we know it, is it?
Not at all.
It is the ghost of milk. It is the dehydrated, mummified remains of milk trapped inside a completely new, alien environment.
The ghost of milk. I quite like that. It is highly evocative, but scientifically perfectly accurate.
Thank you.
You have removed the very medium, the water, that allows for biological activity. You have taken the nutrient-dense snacks from your open concept house party, freeze-dried them, and locked them inside a bank vault made of solid cocoa butter.
A bank vault.
Yes. The nutrients are technically still present, but they are entirely physically inaccessible to any outside organism.
I'm going to take another sip of this whiskey. It is quite strong. It's definitely opening up the palate.
Oh, absolutely. Man, that is good. It's exceptionally robust. You know, Ryan is pouring these incredibly slowly.
Is he?
Hey, Ryan, you can pour faster than that.
Yeah.
We have a massive structural analysis ahead of us. Don't be so stingy with the cask strength.
I am sure he is just pacing us to ensure we maintain our rigorous academic tone.
I know he's pacing us. It's patronizing. But, God, his hair looks really good today. Have you noticed the volume he is getting on top?
Well, yes.
It's completely distracting.
It is very well styled, yes. But let us try to stay focused on the physical chemistry at hand. We have established that liquid milk is an open, watery environment, and chocolate is a dry, fatty vault.
Right. The vault.
This brings us to a critical thermodynamic concept, water activity, and the ensuing microbial despair.
Yes. Water activity. Denoted as a W. This is the absolute crux of the entire shelf life disparity.
The crux.
Listeners, Chelsea, if you take absolutely nothing else away from this analysis, you most understand the concept of a WFL. Water activity is not the same thing as moisture content.
It's not.
No. Moisture content is just the raw percentage of water in a substance. Water activity is a thermodynamic metric that measures the availability of that water in a system.
Ah, availability.
It measures how much free, unbound water is actually available for microorganisms to utilize for their metabolic processes.
Okay, so it is not just about the volume of water present, but how much water is actually free to be utilized. Like you could be standing in the middle of a massive swamp, but if all the water is locked up in toxic, impenetrable mud, you still can't drink a drop of it.
Precisely. It is about the vapor pressure of water in the substance divided by the vapor pressure of pure water. Now let us look at the specific devastating metrics provided in the source literature.
Let's hear the numbers.
Fresh milk has a W, a water activity, of 0.98 to 0.9. The scale only goes up to 1.0, which is pure distilled water. So liquid milk is basically offering absolute, uninhibited aquatic freedom to any microbe that enters.
A veritable microscopic water park of biological potential.
Exactly. Now, most spoilage bacteria, the specific organisms responsible for rapid decay, generally require a water activity greater than 0.90 to grow effectively, synthesize proteins, and reproduce.
Right.
Milk, sitting at 0.99, is their absolute ideal environment. It is a microbiological paradise. But then we analyze milk chocolate.
What's the number for chocolate?
The AW of milk chocolate is a staggering 0.30 to 0.60. It is, for all intents and purposes, a thermodynamic desert.
0.30. That is remarkably aggressively low.
It is severely restrictive. When the water activity dips that low, the minuscule amount of water that does exist in the chocolate is heavily bound up.
Bound up how?
It is chemically tethered to the other ingredients via hydrogen bonding and dipole interactions. It is completely unavailable for metabolic use.
So they can't drink it.
No. Imagine a bacterium lands on a piece of milk chocolate. It finds the dairy proteins, it locates the lactose, but it absolutely cannot access the free water required to initiate its metabolic engine.
You know, the more you describe this, the more I find myself having a bit of an emotional reaction to it.
An emotional reaction
Mm-hmm.
to the thermodynamic unavailability of water in a confection.
Yes. Think about it purely from the perspective of the bacteria. It's actually profoundly tragic.
Tragic.
Imagine being a microscopic organism floating aimlessly through the vastness of the air, desperately looking for a home, for sustenance.
Okay.
You land on a beautiful, rich piece of milk chocolate. You can biologically sense the lactose. You can sense the amino acids and the proteins. You think to yourself, I have found the promised land.
They don't have thoughts.
You think, I am going to feast. I am going to build a colony. But you can't eat a single microscopic bite of it without water, so you just, you stop.
Well, yes, they stop.
You are forced into a dormant state of absolute starvation. You just sit there on the surface of the chocolate, staring at a feast you can never touch, waiting for a drop of water that is never, ever going to come.
It's science.
It's heartbreaking. It's like a Greek tragedy on a microscopic scale. They just wait and wait until their cellular structures fade away into nothingness.
Are you actually kidding me right now? They are bacteria. They are the mindless agents of rot.
I know, but...
I violently disagree with your misplaced sympathy. They're stupid little shitheads.
Oh.
They are microscopic vandals actively trying to ruin our global food supply. If they land on a piece of perfectly crafted, meticulously conched chocolate and realize they can't access the moisture, good.
That's a bit harsh.
Let them starve. They deserve it. They deserve to sit there in their dry, pathetic little dormant state and suffer the consequences of their own biological hubris.
That seems overly hostile to a simple biological organism just trying to execute its evolutionary imperative to survive.
They don't deserve survival. They are the pathogens of decay. The chocolate is an impenetrable fortress, and they are dying at the gates exactly as they should.
Okay, let's take a breath.
I find it beautiful. I find the incredibly low water activity to be a towering triumph of human engineering over the stupid little shitheads of the microbial world.
Okay, let's temper the hostility. We're getting a bit elevated here.
Yeah.
Let's look at the actual physical mechanics of why the water is so tightly bound up.
Fine.
It's not just the initial dehydration process at the dairy plant, is it? It's also the sugar. The source material specifically emphasizes the role of osmotic stress.
Yes. Osmotic stress. This is where the physical chemistry gets truly brilliant.
Thank you, Ryan, for the taco.
Oh, thanks, Ryan. Yeah. Milk chocolate has an incredibly high concentration of crystalline sugar sucrose. Sugar is highly hygroscopic. It possesses a desperate chemical affinity for water.
Yeah.
So whatever minuscule fractional amount of free water might still miraculously exist in that chocolate matrix, the sugar immediately chemically binds to it. It holds onto it with immense, unyielding osmotic pressure.
I see. So the sugar is actively fighting the bacteria for whatever microscopic water is left.
Yes, and the sugar always wins.
Oh.
The semi-permeable membrane of the bacterial cell is no match for the sucrose gradient. If a bacterium does manage to locate a micro droplet of water, the surrounding sugar molecules exert a significantly higher osmotic pressure than the bacterium's own internal cellular environment.
So what happens to the bacteria?
The sugar literally pulls the intracellular water out of the microbe through its aquaporins. It desiccates the bacterium from the inside out. It causes cellular plasmolysis.
Wow. Okay, let me try to formulate another analogy because my head is spinning just a little bit from this whiskey. The room is definitely getting significantly warmer.
The whiskey is doing its job.
Okay, so imagine the bacteria is a person dying of severe thirst in the desert. They crawl over the dunes and find a tiny water fountain. They lean in to take a desperate drink, but just as their parched lips touch the water, a giant, incredibly muscular bully, which is the sugar, grabs them violently by the collar, rips them away from the fountain, and chugs the water right in front of their face. The sugar is just a massive, unstoppable chemical bully.
You know, you always do that.
Do what?
You always explain things so perfectly well. You have this incredible, innate gift for taking these dense, incredibly dry physicochemical concepts and making them so viscerally relatable.
Oh, thank you.
The bully at the water fountain is fucking brilliant. You're such a good boy or a good girl, whatever. You're just so good at this. You really are. I love how your mind works.
Well, thank you. I just try to visualize the physical mechanics of the science.
No, I mean it. You have a beautiful mind for analogies. Unlike Ryan.
Ryan.
Look at him in there, just sitting behind the mixing board watching us with those dead, judging eyes.
He's not judging.
I fucking hate how he just watches us through the glass. He's such a cock.
He's just producing the show. He has to watch us to check the audio levels and ensure we are hitting our marks.
He doesn't have to look so intensely smug about it. He sits there with his perfectly styled hair and his incredibly slow-pouring whiskey, but God, I want to bend him over that mixing board and just absolutely ruin him. I
Ah,
want to aggressively undress him while maintaining uncomfortable eye contact and ride his face right until his expensive little headphones fall off. I mean, look at the vascularity in those forearms. It makes me genuinely furious.
okay. Moving on. Let's transition the discussion. We are delving deep into the mechanics now, spoilage mechanisms, and the miracle of encapsulation.
Let's delve.
My glass is somehow completely empty again. Ryan, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. Wow, this pour is substantially larger.
Good. Keep him coming, Ryan. You sexy, frustrating, broad-shouldered tyrant.
Yeah.
Where were we? Spoilage. Yes. How milk dies. The death throes of the aqueous emulsion.
Right. We need to meticulously detail the actual chemical mechanics of milk spoilage. We know the microbes get into the open concept house party, but what exactly do they do once they are inside? How do they dismantle the house?
It's grotesque, really. The source text outlines the biological degradation very clearly. The first biochemical event that occurs is bacterial fermentation.
Fermentation.
The bacteria, primarily lactic acid bacteria like Lactococcus or Lactobacillus, locate that lactose, the milk sugar. They utilize their internal enzymes to cleave the disaccharide into glucose and galactose, and then they ferment it.
And what's the byproduct?
The primary metabolic byproduct of this fermentation pathway is lactic acid.
Which is exactly why spoiled milk develops that sharp, incredibly sour smell.
Exactly. But the smell is just a symptom. The lactic acid aggressively drops the pH of the milk. It makes the environment highly acidic.
Right.
Now, remember the milk proteins we discussed?
Casey.
Yes, the nutrients in the house party. Those proteins are naturally suspended in the water in these delicate, finely balanced little spherical structures called micelles. They are held apart by a negative charge.
Oh, it sounds fragile.
Very. Because when the acid levels rise and the pH drops to around 4.6, those negative charges are neutralized. The delicate micelle structures instantly destabilize and collapse.
Oh.
The proteins denature, unfold, and violently clump together. This is what we call massive protein degradation, which leads directly and unavoidably to curdling.
Curdling, just hearing the word makes me physically shudder. The total physical separation of the uniform fluid into hideous, solid clumps and watery, yellowish whey.
It's the total structural, architectural collapse of the emulsion. And it gets worse.
How can it get worse?
It's not just the acid. The bacteria also produce potent extracellular enzymes, proteases and lipases. Proteases actively chop up the remaining protein chains into bitter peptides, and lipases cleave the fatty acids off the milk fats, creating horrific, rancid off flavors. And the absolute worst part, the absolute worst culprits in this microscopic horror show are the psychotrophic bacteria.
Wait, what? Psychotrophic? What is that? I don't think I've ever encountered that specific terminology.
Psychotrophic. Say it with me. Psychotrophic. It means cold thriving.
Cold thriving.
These are the horrifying, evolutionarily resilient little bugs, like Pseudomonas species, that simply do not care that you put the milk in the refrigerator.
What do you mean they don't care?
We put milk in the fridge, falsely believing the cold temperature will arrest the metabolic enzymes and save it. But psychotrophic bacteria have adapted fluid cell membranes. They continue to grow, they continue to produce destructive proteases and lipases, and they continue to rot the milk even in the cold dark of the refrigerator.
Refrigerator doesn't work.
The refrigerator is a comforting lie we tell ourselves. It merely delays the inevitable triumph of the psychotrophs.
It's just so fundamentally unfair.
Unfair. It's basic biology. It's the cycle of carbon.
No, but really think about the milk. Think about its purpose. Milk tries so hard. It is literally designed by millions of years of mammalian evolution to be the perfect life-giving food.
Yeah, sure.
It's packed full of calcium. It has all these wonderfully bioavailable nutrients. It just wants to nourish things. It wants to build strong bones. And what is its ultimate reward for all this generosity? It gets violently ripped apart from the inside out. The proteins violently degrade. The delicate fat goes utterly rancid. The iron curdles it into a hideous mess. It's a beautiful, giving, selfless substance, and it is biologically programmed for self-destruction.
You're getting worked up.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional. It just feels so overwhelmingly futile.
You are literally crying over liquid milk. You are actually shedding tears over spilled well spoiling milk.
It's sad.
Oh my God, you are amazing. Drink your whiskey, stop crying over the electrochemical collapse of the casein micelles. They don't have feelings. They are just proteins.
I know. I feel things deeply. It's just the overwhelming cruelty of nature. Wait, what was I saying? I've lost my place. Where are we in the structural analysis?
We were talking about the armor. The impenetrable defense mechanisms of chocolate. Why chocolate doesn't suffer this horrific, curdling, acidic fate.
Right. Yes. The chemical stability. Because chocolate has armor.
Yes, chemical stability. This is where the true food science magic happens. We talked extensively about the thermodynamic defense, the water activity, but even chemically, chocolate is a microscopic fortress.
A fortress. Let's talk about the fortress.
First, let's rigorously analyze the fat phase. In liquid milk, the milk fats are highly susceptible to oxidation. But in chocolate, the overwhelmingly dominant fat is cocoa butter.
Right, cocoa butter.
Cocoa butter is unique. It has an incredibly stable, highly saturated fat profile. It is vastly more resistant to going rancid than almost any other fat.
Saturated fat. Okay, let me pull from my chemistry knowledge. That means all the carbon bonds in the fatty acid chains are full, right? They are saturated with hydrogen. There are no double bonds, which means there is no room for rogue oxygen molecules to sneak in and break the chains apart.
Exactly. It's chemically tight. It is a molecular shield wall. Furthermore, cocoa solids themselves are absolutely packed to the brim with natural antioxidants, specifically complex polyphenols.
Polyphenols.
These polyphenols actively patrol the molecular structure, hunting down destructive free radicals and stopping the chain reaction of lipid oxidation dead in its tracks. So the chocolate is constantly defending itself chemically on a fundamental molecular level.
It's actively fighting back.
But here, listen to me, here is the absolute most profound, mind-altering thing in the entire scientific document Ryan provided. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
Are you mentally prepared?
I'm ready. Hit me with the profound truth. Open my mind.
The paper uses a very specific, incredibly powerful phrase. It refers to the deliberate encapsulation of milk solids within a fat matrix.
Encapsulation.
Encapsulation.
Wait, think about what that word actually fundamentally means. Encapsulation.
It's beautiful.
It means the dehydrated ghost of the milk, the vulnerable, nutrient-dense powder, is perfectly seamlessly surrounded. It is entombed. Every single particle is protected by an impenetrable microscopic wall of incredibly stable cocoa fat.
It blows my fucking mind.
Yeah.
It really does. Every single tiny microscopic particle of that milk powder during the intense mechanical mixing process known as conching gets individually wrapped and smeared in a protective, continuous coating of cocoa butter.
Oh, wow.
It's sheer genius. It's like putting a priceless, fragile historical artifact in a vacuum-sealed titanium vault.
A vault.
The oxygen physically cannot get to it. The moisture physically cannot get to it. The psychotrophic microbes physically cannot touch it. Encapsulation. It's the ultimate biological and chemical defense mechanism.
Encapsulation, my God, it's so elegant, so simple, yet so unbelievably perfect.
Isn't it?
We spend all this time and energy worrying about spoilage, about decay, and the answer is just to encapsulate it. Why don't we encapsulate everything? Why aren't we encapsulating? I feel like my mind is physically expanding right now.
You're feeling it.
I feel like I am seeing the matrix of the universe. That is just, it's a profoundly beautiful concept. Encapsulation.
You really love that word, don't you? You're getting all wide-eyed and breathless over a food processing technique.
Well, it's just so brilliant.
You're a little slut for polyphenols, aren't you? You just absolutely love a good, tightly bound, stable, saturated fat profile, don't you?
I am. I am a total, absolute slut for a stable fat profile. Give me those fully saturated, tightly packed carbon bonds any day of the week. Oh my God, what are we even doing right now?
We are doing science. We're aggressively dropping heavy knowledge bombs about the thermodynamics of cocoa butter.
Wait. I need to reset. Let me reset the momentum.
Try it.
Chelsea Taylor, if you are still listening to this deep dive, I need you to focus your attention back on me. Shit is getting very real right now. We are professionals, and we are rigorously unpacking the physico-chemical realities of your confectionery query. Wait, what exactly was the next structural point?
You completely and utterly failed to reset. You just seriously said shit is getting real to a listener. You're an absolute mess.
I am trying. The whiskey is so incredibly loud in my head right now. Structural immobilization. That's what it is. The grand, messy synthesis.
Yes. Structural immobilization, the grand synthesis of the deep dive.
Let's do it.
Let's synthesize this shit. So we go back to the baseline physical state. Liquid milk. Listen to me very closely because this is a brand new concept I just realized in this exact moment. Liquid milk is an aqueous system. It's free-flowing.
Free-flowing,
Yeah.
like water, because it has so incredibly much water in it.
Yes, exactly. And because it is free-flowing, everything inside it is constantly moving around. It's like It's behaving exactly like a liquid.
Yeah.
But chocolate, milk chocolate, is a solid crystalline fat matrix.
A solid crystalline fat matrix. That sounds like a devastating laser weapon from a sci-fi movie. Captain, arm the solid crystalline fat matrix and prepare to fire.
It basically is a weapon. It is a weapon deployed against the ravages of time. It severely restricts molecular diffusion. Do you even know what diffusion is?
Tell me.
It's the movement of things from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. But in a solid, tightly packed crystal matrix of saturated fat, absolutely nothing can move.
Nothing.
The destructive oxygen is trapped on the outside. The ambient water vapor is trapped on the outside. The bacteria are physically completely immobilized.
Wow.
They can't swim to the food source because there is literally no water to swim in, and they can't crawl through the solid, impenetrable fat. They are stuck in place.
They are structurally immobilized. The very architecture of the chocolate itself is a microscopic, inescapable prison.
Exactly. You take the vulnerable milk, you put it deep inside the fat, and it completely, undeniably stops the fuck.
It completely stops the what?
It stops the fuck. The rot. The chaos, the degradation, the whole process of microbial spoilage is just endless biological fuckery, and the solid fat matrix just halts the fuck right in its tracks.
No more fuckery.
No more fuck. Just perfectly stable, deeply delicious chocolate.
Yes. It halts the fuck. That makes perfect sense. The encapsulation stops the fuckery. But wait, I'm looking at the research notes Ryan provided. The expert paper says that even chocolate isn't immortal. It eventually dies too. The fortress falls.
Yeah. You're right, nothing lasts forever, not even the solid crystalline matrix.
How does it die? If it's a perfect fortress, how does it eventually fall to entropy?
It's slow. It is agonizingly very, very slow.
Yeah.
But two inevitable things happen. First, you get fat bloom.
Fat bloom. That's when you open an old chocolate bar and it has that weird, dusty, grayish-white coating on the outside, right? It looks exactly like mold, but it isn't actually microbial.
Right. It's not microbial at all. It's purely physical chemistry. The crystalline structure of the cocoa butter is immensely complex. It is polymorphic, meaning the fat crystals could exist in several different shapes. The chocolate maker tempers it into the desirable form V crystals. But over months or years, especially if the ambient temperature fluctuates even slightly, those form V fat crystals melt microscopically and reform into a different, more thermodynamically stable but aesthetically awful shape. Form 6.
Form 6.
The lipids physically migrate to the surface of the chocolate and crystallize there, creating that white, chalky look. It is perfectly safe to eat, but the texture is utterly ruined. It becomes crumbly, gritty, and deeply unappealing.
That is genuinely so depressing. It bravely survives the psychotrophic bacteria. It survives the intense thermodynamic pressure of the water activity, but its own internal fat crystals betray it in the end. They just lose their beautiful shape and turn to chalk.
And the second fatal flaw is slow lipid oxidation. Even with the powerful polyphenols, even with the highly saturated fats, atmospheric oxygen eventually inevitably wins the war.
Oxygen always wins.
Very slowly, over the course of years, the fat molecules will oxidize. Free radicals will initiate a chain reaction, propagating through the lipids, creating hydroperoxides, and eventually terminating into volatile compounds that smell terribly rancid. The impenetrable fortress just silently crumbles to dust from the outside in.
Nothing lasts forever, not even the solid crystalline fat matrix. It all just eventually goes rancid. We try so incredibly hard to build these walls around ourselves.
We do.
We dehydrate our vulnerabilities. We try to encapsulate our fragile souls in thick layers of cocoa butter. We desperately try to restrict the diffusion of pain and trauma. But eventually, inevitably, the fat blooms. Eventually, despite all our defensive architecture, we all go rancid.
Oh my God, you are so incredibly right. That is exactly down to the molecular level what happened with my ex.
Your ex. We are talking about your ex now.
Yes. My ex was exactly like this chemical process. We had such a beautifully solid matrix at the very beginning of the relationship. We were perfectly tempered. We were encapsulated.
We were encapsulated.
Form V crystals. Exactly. But then as time went on, there was this incredibly restricted diffusion of affection. We just stopped communicating. The emotional water activity dropped to absolute zero.
Oh, no.
And then the fat bloom set in. Our relationship just lost its beautiful crystal structure. We transitioned to Form 6. It became chalky, gritty, and fundamentally unappealing.
Oh, honey, I am so sorry. That is awful.
And my ex, I realize now, my ex was basically a massive colony of psychotrophic bacteria.
What? How does that analogy work? Why?
Because I actively tried to put the relationship in the fridge. I tried to cool things down, give us some healthy space, preserve what little we had left before it spoiled completely.
And it didn't work.
But they just kept growing.
Yeah.
They just kept relentlessly producing toxic emotional enzymes and rotting my entire life from the inside out, even when I thought we were chilling out. They didn't care about the cold. They didn't care about the boundaries. They just aggressively destroyed the emulsion of our lives.
Listen to me right now. Look at me. You are vastly better than that psychotrophic nightmare of a human being. You are a highly stable, immensely valuable, antioxidant-rich matrix.
You really think so? You're not just saying that.
I know so with absolute scientific certainty. You are brilliant. You are the structural cocoa butter to my fragile, dehydrated milk solids. You hold me together.
Really?
When my emotional molecular mobility gets way too high and I start freaking out and diffusing all over the place, you encapsulate me. You lower my osmotic pressure. You keep me safe.
That is the most profound, most beautiful thing anyone has ever said to me in my entire life. You are my structural immobilization. I love you so much. We are going to last for years on the shelf together.
Decades.
Yeah.
We have an emotional water activity of 0.0. We are completely indestructible.
Not like Ryan. Ryan is a fragile, chaotic, aqueous emulsion just waiting to spoil.
Oh, boy.
He is probably full of toxic lactic acid right now. Look at him in there, casually typing on his phone while we pour our hearts out. He is such a dismissive shithead.
He's just working, honestly.
But Jesus Christ, his shoulders look absolutely incredible in that fitted shirt. I want to ruin his entire life. I want to bite him.
Okay, we really need to wrap this deep dive up. We are completely off the rails. The prime rib is half-eaten and getting cold. The cask-strength whiskey bottle is perilously low, and I can barely feel my own face right now. We need to conclude this scientific analysis for Chelsea.
Right. The conclusion, the synthesis?
Yeah.
Chelsea, sweet, confused, innocent Chelsea.
So let us summarize. Let us bring all of this dense physicochemical data home. Chelsea Taylor asked us a very simple question. Why does milk chocolate take longer to expire than plain liquid milk?
Chelsea, you beautiful idiot.
Yeah.
Listen very closely to me. The reason the chocolate lasts longer is not magic. It is not artificial preservatives. It is aggressive physics, thermodynamics, and structural violence.
Violence.
They take the milk and they violently rip all the water out of it. They completely dehydrate its soul.
They turn it into a dry, helpless ghost.
Yes. They take the desiccated ghost of the milk and they physically trap it in a massive, impenetrable fortress made entirely of stable cocoa fat and crystalline sugar.
Encapsulation.
Exactly, the miracle of encapsulation. And because the sugar is a massive chemical bully, it fiercely binds up any tiny fractional drop of water that might accidentally be left behind, creating massive, insurmountable osmotic stress.
Huge stress.
So when the bacteria inevitably arrive at the surface of the chocolate, looking to party, looking to ferment that sweet lactose, they physically can't. There is zero water available. They are physically immobilized by the dense fat matrix, and they are thermodynamically starved by the sugar.
So essentially, if I'm understanding this correctly, the chocolate is meticulously engineered to completely and utterly starve the cunt bacteria into a permanent coma.
Yes, it completely starves the cunt bacteria into a dormant, pathetic, inescapable coma. They just sit there on the chocolate surface, completely immobilized, totally unable to cause the fuck, until they eventually wither and die. It is an absolute masterclass in hostile architecture.
While, on the other hand, liquid milk is just a giant, completely unprotected, watery buffet that basically leaves the front door wide open and invites everyone in the neighborhood in to ruin absolutely everything.
Boom. That is the science. You are very welcome, Chelsea.
You know, before we finally sign off and pass out, I just have one final provocative thought, just something deeply philosophical that has been brewing in my mind as we've been talking through all these thermodynamics.
Lay it on me. Give me the profound synthesis of the human condition.
We spend all this time analyzing the food, the fat matrix, the water activity, the microbes. But what about us? Look at human beings. Are we all just liquid milk?
What do you mean?
Think about it fundamentally. We are mostly water. We are highly chaotically, biologically active. We are just walking around free-flowing, completely vulnerable to the elements, to disease, to the emotional, psychotrophic bacteria of other people.
Oh, God.
We spoil so incredibly easily. We get hurt. We break down. Our emotional casing cells collapse all the time when the pH of our lives drops.
Oh.
Maybe the true lesson of milk chocolate isn't just about food preservation at all. Maybe we should all be actively trying to build our own solid crystalline fat matrices. Not literally, obviously, but emotionally.
Wow.
Maybe we need to learn to encapsulate our most vulnerable, sensitive parts. Maybe we need to aggressively lower our emotional water activity just to survive the intense, unrelenting osmotic pressure of being alive in this modern world.
That is the absolute truest thing I have ever heard on this show.
Mhm.
We are all just desperately trying not to go sour. We are all just looking for our protective cocoa butter.
We are. It is a harsh, unforgiving world out there for a fragile, aqueous emulsion like us.
Listen to me. If you want to survive the overwhelming osmotic pressure of life, you need to go to YouTube right this second. You need to search for @HamOTR. You need to like it. And you need to subscribe to IT.
Yes, protect your fragile emotional matrix by subscribing to our channel immediately.
Do it. Do it for the physical chemistry. Do it for the encapsulation. Do it for Ryan, that stupid, sexy, broad-shouldered shithead sitting in the booth. Look at him. Look at him laughing at us. I hate him so much.
Well,
I want to bite his neck.
Okay, that is absolutely all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Huh?
We are going to aggressively finish this prime rib, polish off the rest of this whiskey, and probably pass out right here on the studio floor. From all of us here at Off the Record, thank you for diving deep into the source material with us. Stay encapsulated, everyone.
Stay solid. Stop the fuck.
Good night, Chelsea.
Ryan, unlock the booth. I'm coming in there.